This video is part of a tutorial series on using the Visual Authentication Journey Builder. It will cover using context items or claims resolvers to read contextual information about the current authentication request. Let's consider a simple case where we have a sign-in policy, and instead of allowing general self-service sign-up, we want users to be signing up using a link with a referral code. The sign-in policy is a very basic one and is already shown here. It allows an existing user to sign in with their username and password and includes their object ID as the subject name, their sign-in name, given name, and surname in the output token. As an exercise, try building this policy yourself from scratch. When users follow a referral link, we want them to take a different user journey. So we'll add a new flowchart to the project to implement it. First, let's add a new claim for the referral code. We'll display this in a user form, so we will select an input type. We won't create an AAD attribute from it because in this case, we'll assume we're validating it with an external API. This referral sign-up journey won't start with a sign-in sign-up component. Instead, we'll add a generic user input form, and we'll customize it to suit the behavior we need. The first item we want to display is the field for the referral code. So we'll select that attribute. Although we'll allow the user to enter a referral code manually in this case, it's convenient if the user doesn't need to. So we'll pre-fill the field from a session context. These are context items that can be read about the authentication request. This is a way to get the URL query parameters of an OpenID Connect request in a policy. The OAuth key value session context allows us to provide a query parameter key for which the value will be retrieved. There are other components in the editor besides user input pages that allow you to read session context values. In this example, we assume our sign-up links are constructed with a ref code query parameter and an email query parameter. We'll use the ref code key here to get the referral code from the URL. When the form is displayed to the user, the initial value in this field will come from the ref code query parameter, if it is present in the URL. We'll also have the user validate their email address. We'll allow them to edit it, but we'll fill it initially from the email query parameter. We'll also have the user provide account creation details, a password, which they'll repeat and have complexity constraints on, as well as a given name, a surname, and the display name. When the user submits this form, before we go ahead and create the user object in AAD, we'll want to verify the referral code is valid. For this example, let's assume we have a REST API that will validate a referral ID and user email to confirm whether they have been invited to sign up. Another video will cover REST API components in more detail. But for now, just know that they allow a policy to make a call to an external REST API. We'll add a URL for now, we'll add a URL for a test API and not worry about authentication settings for the REST API itself. We select the input claims we want to send to the API, the user's email, and the referral code. And we'll expect back an output claim from the test API which we'll need to create a claim for. Then we can select output, select our validation result claim, and save it. This will make a call to the external API to validate the referral code and email represent a user that was actually invited. Next, we'll add a conditional branch. If the validation result is true for success according to our API, then we'll go ahead and create the user. If it's false, that means the referral code and email don't correspond to a user that was invited. So what we'll do instead is we'll throw an error. This error will be displayed in the form shown to the user. When we go ahead and create the user, we'll be creating it in a similar way to users we've created before using the AAD create component. We set the display name, the password, and the user fields. In this case, we're not writing the referral code to the AAD object, although you could create an extension attribute and do that in some other scenario. And we'll map the user's object ID. Once that creation process is done, this flow is essentially complete, so we can issue a token. With the usual fields. We'll also include the referral code in this token this time. Now we can deploy and test these policies. Since there were two flowcharts, there's two links to test them. To test the signup, we'll need to add query parameters. So we'll copy the link for the signup journey and manually add these parameters at the end. The ref code parameter and the email parameter. You can see that the email and referral code fields were pre-populated with the values from the URL query parameters. We'll go ahead and request the verification code for the email. And fill out the usual new user details. In this case, our test API treats the submitted referral code as valid, so the user is created and a token is returned. Now we can use this user to sign in using the other policy. This concludes the subject of this video. As an exercise, try building a sign-in policy that will show a form to the user to update their given name and surname only if there is a mode query parameter in the request URL with a value of edit, and will skip editing the given name and surname if the parameter is not present or has any other value.